Hello. This beautiful question comes from the amazing Ashley Mack, who I have so much room in my heart for and who I adore completely and immensely. Thank you, Ashley, for being such a part of everything that I do. Her question is, how do I sustain myself over in Bali? That is a fantastic question, and it deserves a great answer. So the powerful piece that I want to share first is that it actually costs me less to live in Bali than it did in Calgary. I'm paying about $400 a month for rent. My food, if I want to go out to a cheap restaurant, costs about $2 to $4 for a really amazing meal, or like 10 to 25 if I'm going out for something fancy. And then on top of that, babysitting for about 6 hours a day, 6 days a week is costing me $100 a week, a little bit less than that, and I just gave my helper a raise because she's amazing. So all of that makes life in Bali more affordable, and I'm paying about $1,500 to $2,000 a month to live here, which is a lot less than I've experienced paying in Calgary. It cost me $2 to fill up my scooter instead of $60 to fill up my gas tank, and so that makes it affordable. And on top of that, the quality of life here for me is a lot higher because I'm always surrounded by amazing entrepreneurs. I am, constantly living in beautiful tropical land. Okay, it's raining quite a bit now, but the rain is quite nice compared to how stinking hot it was. So, I'm living the dream, and it's costing me about the same or less than it would in Canada. And if I really wanted to live cheaper than I am right now, I could, but I like living like a queen while also, living on the cheap. It's a nice feeling, especially to my Canadian I'm getting a deal self. Anyways, so that's sort of an idea of how much it's costing me to live here. And then on top of that, how am I sustaining myself? So for the last 6 years, I've been an on-again, off-again web designer, doing web work, writing website pages, putting them together, building marketing funnels, etc. And I'm totally self-taught in this. It's something that I was 8 months pregnant and I needed a job, and I was I used to design websites for fun when I was 16. People pay for that. Let's see what happens, And then I just kept one step ahead of my clients the whole way through, and now I'm working with some really amazing people. We're bringing in Jack Canfield and Roger Hamilton and Kate and Henari O'Brien and a couple of other people. And I'm working at this level. I'm just holy shit, are these actually the people that I'm working with on a regular basis? Not to mention the exciting stuff that's happening for the Awakened Women's Conference. That's I started with very little, and you can, some of the other things that people can do to sustain themselves while abroad. Web work is obviously a really simple one. A lot of people use that. It's the gateway drug. You can also teach English. There's websites that will pay you $10 an hour to teach English, and you can, you can put in a full work week and sustain yourself in that. There's better ways of doing that. $10 an hour is not an easy way to sustain yourself. And a lot of people, I met a woman today who sort of she saves up, she waitresses and lives with family at home, and then goes traveling for 6 months every year, and she basically saves up money and doesn't do much and then goes traveling. One of the other things that a lot of people don't think about traveling long term is that you don't buy shit. You don't buy extra things. There is no consumerism other than food and travel expenses for the most part, and new exciting clothes every once in a while. But for the most part, this is my backpack and my whole life fits in there. So I don't have room for extra clothes. I don't have room for extra knickknacks and stuff. I don't want to live like that. That's not what travel is about for me. And so that cuts down people's expenses a lot. I think I answered the question of how I'm sustaining myself. And I do freelance healing work, so I'll meet people and talk to them about that I do sexual empowerment work, and they're oh, that's interesting. Let's sit down and do a joygasm session with them. And then sometimes that turns into coaching work afterwards, and sometimes it doesn't. But it's cool. If you have healing modality type stuff, you can totally, especially in Ubud, you can come to Ubud and just talk to people, go out to spaces where people hang out and talk to them and be charming and charismatic and turn them into clients. That's how it rolls. That being said, you wanted to also know what does the majority of my day look like. So I roll out of bed at 8:30 to 9:30, depending on how late I stayed up last night and whether or not Alex wakes me up. But he's a late sleeper, so 8:30 is pretty standard. I never schedule any business meetings before 10, ever. And we just hang out in the morning. You know, we do some homeschooling stuff. We like watch YouTube videos and then do science experiments based on the things that we saw. We are working on writing a book together, so we work on that some days. Some days we'll go on like an adventure to a waterfall, or we went to the elephant safari the other day and a chocolate factory. So, you know, just like kind of fun outings in the morning. And a lot of mornings we just hang out at home and build Lego and, you know, do kid mom stuff. Right now I have a house cleaner and a house like shopper cooker, so I don't really cook food. You know, I wake up in the morning, somebody asks me what I want to eat for breakfast, they make it, I eat it, they wash dishes. It's like pretty pimp. It's pretty amazing. And yeah, so we hang out, and then in the afternoons, Alex's main babysitter comes at usually 2 o'clock, so we go mid-afternoon, we go to the pool, we hang out at the pool for an hour or 2 hours, depending on the day, and then we get, his babysitter comes and picks him up, and takes him back to her house where he hangs out with a bunch of Balinese kids and her family. You know, like he's got her, like her mom's kind of his grandma, except he thinks she's kind of creepy. Which is like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but it's true. She's a lovely lady, but Alex finds her a little weird. Anyway, and then, yeah, so then from about 2 o'clock to 6 or 8 o'clock, depending on the evening, I am like hardcore on the computer, like uploading videos for you guys, sharing content, working on the projects that I'm working on business-wise. And some days I'm like, I don't feel like it, so I just go on an adventure, or I go out for lunch or dinner with friends. And then in the evenings, like I'll often go to ecstatic dance, or there's like a comedy night, or I'm hosting my own Joygasm events. Or what else do I do? Oh, sauna. There's like a sauna that's really amazing. So we'll go to sauna on like a couple of, not usually a couple nights a week, but it's available a couple of nights a week. And there's lots of fun things to do. And if I didn't have kids, I would like just hang out with friends in restaurants. That's what I did when I was here solo. And it was pretty amazing to just like have so much free time and be able to eat out for so cheap and just like rock it. Yeah. So that's what my life looks like right now. Thank you for asking the question, and I hope it was interesting for you. And I totally, I've had a couple of requests from other single moms who are like, can I do this relocate to Bali thing? And I say yes. There are a ton of single moms here, and we've come here because it's cheap to hire additional help so that we don't actually feel like single moms anymore, which is really nice. I got to talk to a woman the other day, and she's like, you don't cook or clean or grocery shop? And her eyes like bugged out of her face, and I was like, yeah, it's true, I kind of take it for granted now, but I don't, and it's really normal to have that kind of house help here, which is part of why we've chosen Bali. So if that's something that's interesting, like if you've ever thought about like picking your life up for 6 months or a year and taking your kids with you, there's schools here as well that are like approved for Western children to attend, and so it's definitely very doable. You just need to have some courage, and if you need help with the courage, you can help. Just saying. Have a beautiful day. I love you so much. Have an amazing day, and thank you again for the question. If you have other questions for me, please send questions.